So where does that creative side come from you? Like, it sounds like a lot of your career has been associated with that. You went to school for that, but like when you were younger, were you more inherently more like creative and just like, I always see that with like creatives like Andrew, obviously having a business partner like Andrew, he's wired different than me in that way, which is awesome. But it's also like, where does it come from? Where did it start? Where was that crystallized moment for you growing up? Was there a moment for you where you're like, man, I really love this?
Yeah.
In other words, where does it come from? Where does it go?
Yeah.
Where does it come from? Cotton Eye Joe.
Where did it come from? Cotton Eye Joe. Yeah. I was always a creative kid growing back. I look back at old pictures. I'm really grateful. My mom saved a bunch of stuff. And she just sent it to me recently. Like I got this whole box in the mail of my childhood drawings, which, geez. And I'm like, oh, I really always was this way. It just maybe wasn't like as encouraged. My dad was definitely very like, you're going to be a starving artist for the rest of your life. Like you need to go get a job in like tech. And I'm like, what? But I like to color like a lot. So it wasn't really encouraged. I don't feel like on that side of my family. But looking back, I definitely was always marker in hand, making a craft. I was cross stitching. Like I was a very anxious and still am person, just anxious energy, you know, like I grew up in the church too. So, you know, having to be in the church several times a week, I'm bored out of my skull. And so I'd be 7 years old and I'm like cross stitching in the church pew, like just something, you know, like something to keep my hands busy. And it's funny because, you know, you always listen to folks talking about being an entrepreneur and like, I always knew I was going to be an entrepreneur. And for me, it didn't really feel like idealized until like I got to that. I like arrived and then kind of had like self-reflection, like looking back and going, oh girl, like we were really always meant for this. This was always supposed to be, you know, what we were going to do. And I always tell this story about, I think it was like a third grade or something. And I had rented this book from the library. It was like a book of typography and just handwritten alphabets, like different styles in there. Like some of them had like flowers and leaves and whatever. And I remember getting it from the library and going, oh, this is so neat. And back in the 90s, right? Like we had like little name cards on our desks that was like the most you could customize your desk.
Yeah.
And so recess, all my friends are playing out on the playground and I'm like hustling for $1 these custom handwritten name cards for all my friends. I'm like, give me your lunch money.
Yeah,
and
cool.
I will custom write you this cool ass, you know, like name card for your desk. And so that's how I was hustling some extra lunch money or spending money, craft store money really is what it was. And I'm like, man, I've been a hustler since day one. I feel like
that's crazy.
Yeah. So I definitely was always had my hands in some sort of art or creating. I remember too, I was in my elementary school was a magnet school that specialized in math and science and in Southern California. So we got grant money from Apple. And I think I took my first Photoshop class in like 97.
Wow.
I know, cool. But like crazy to like get all the way through high school and then arrive at college and then be like, I'm on an undecided major. What do I want to do here? And then just thankfully found my art department and thankfully found graphic design because it was going against everything my parents were wanting for me, you know, like wanting to encourage me to go in other types of tech and things like that. And I just kind of stayed with it and was like, this is what I want to do. Like, cool, I'll be broke. I don't care.
For sure, yeah.
I'll be broke and having fun. So
Photoshop is tech in a lot of ways. I mean, to be able to understand it, it's a pretty insane with, you know, video software like Premiere Pro and all that stuff. It actually almost trains you in a tech way that you don't realize it as an artist.
Yeah.
It's really cool you said that you had a Photoshop class at what grade?
I was like 7 or 8.
That's insane because I was in the first Photoshop class that my school ever had, my high school ever had.
Wow.
Like,
really?
I helped create the curriculum actually
because
that's
cool.
I pirated Photoshop.
Yeah, right.
Around that time.
Yeah, there was. Like, I took like a robotics class too. That was doing some sort of in elementary school. And looking back, I'm like, wow, that was sick. Like I'm
awesome,
so glad that I had that. Also, MySpace was a thing. Like as I was coming into high school too. So I'm like, me over here, you know, I'm like 12 doing HTML. Like, so I was like,
because that's what MySpace was. Me and Marcus talk about that a lot. You know, like actually with MySpace, it was still like the web Web 2.0 hadn't been created yet, and you still had to like you could customize your page using HTML.
Right, I'm like, we basically were like little web designer light. Yeah, I'm like, I've got like butterflies flying through my little pink background.
Wow, so you're getting deep in it. Okay.
Vanessa Carlton music playing in the background. Like,
making my way downtown.
I've been that girl.
Nice.
Yeah.
I had like my name scrolling down, like raining down my page.
Oh, that's so
and
cool.
everything.
Yeah. And it was fun. It was
wild.
It was really
and then not
exciting.
like the hierarchy of your friends too. You're like,
Oh, yeah.
all right,
top 8 or whatever.
No, really, Brittany pissed me off this week. So.
And that's kind of funny because you were saying how like your dad was like, you need to get into some kind of tech, but like,
but I'm like, bro, I was literally doing it the whole time.
I've come to learn recently that tech is one of the most creative things you could do. Actually, like as someone who's grew up as like who identified themselves as an artist, you know, like all this stuff, and like tech is actually one of the most creative things you could do because it's. I'm not saying the other things aren't super creative as well either, but I'm saying like it's combining different disciplines with the same way. I don't know. I just love it because you're designing
complete innovation, like creativity.
Well,
you're designing the inside and the outside. Like if you already know art, like if you can create products. Because I've been doing 3D printing stuff. It's like I can create now. I know like how to program, and now I know like a little bit about electrical mechanics and stuff like that. I can put that together and design how the inside works and the concept of how it actually can function in the real life. I designed that.
Right.
And then I can make it look like a teddy bear or something.
Yeah. Well, and that was the cool thing too that I discovered in college because there was 2 different tracks in my school that you could take. One that was the BFA direction, Bachelor of Fine Arts.
Okay.
So in like visual comm, and then you could go like business information systems, which would be more like IT and more back-end development.
Front end, back end, yeah.
And I realized quickly, I'm like, that ain't me, dog. Yeah. Like I can make a website look pretty, but I'm not the back-end kind of person. But in realizing, you know, in getting into the industry was like, no, both of those individuals are key in having them work side by side. Or, you know, if you can get yourself to learn a little bit of the other side, you know, then really it's kind of, you know, bringing the 2 things together, the left brain, right brain, but also it's you know, to be doing some of those things, of creating something from nothing. I mean, you have to have some fundamental, you know, art background and basic design skills, basic color theory, and those fundamentals. I'm so grateful for going the track of, you know, a BFA.
Yeah, that's what I started out doing.
Yeah, because it's like you learn more about like, well, yes, does it function, but like, what is it aesthetically pleasing? Is it accessible? Yeah. You know, are the colors working well together? Can someone view this with a vision impairment? You know, like there's just so much into it, and yeah, it's just such an unfortunate thing of like our parents' generations of like the starving artist, you know, thing of like it's just. Like, can we?
Well, back then they were just they were living in their times. Like we have had new job opportunities open up that they didn't have because of the internet. You know,
yeah,
like it's
exactly.
opened up a whole new world where it's not even feasible anymore to think that way.
And I think that's the beautiful thing about millennials too. Like, don't get me wrong. Like, as much as I do love, you know, being involved in tech to some extent, and I do love, you know, the progression of social media. I'm an analog girl till I die. Like, physical media is still like my thing, but I think that's just such a cool thing about millennials is that we saw it all, you know, like I had cassette tapes and I had, you know, and I got to see the transition to CDs, and I did have VHS and got to see the transition to DVDs and then floppy disks and whatever else. And then we followed tech through all of it, you know, and like we've arrived, leave us alone, you know, like,
it is unique, right? To kind of see both sides of like, what was life before the internet, or like maybe 20 years from now, what was life before AI, right? Like there's big transitions that have happened in our lives, and we're still pretty young.
I'm 35. I've seen it all. Yeah.
So I'm the same. I'm 35, and it's the same thing for me. It's like, and I had older siblings who were 10 years older than me, so like they had the 8-tracks and like record players and stuff like that, and they shared that with me when I was young too. So it's just so crazy to think about. You know, if you think about tech on an exponential curve, and think about like when you started versus like when you're in your 90s or whenever you're towards the end of your life, like the differences, the glaring differences of what you experience and what you can comprehend is probably insane. Like I think about my grandpa before he passed, he was just like, I don't even know if he could imagine AI now. You know, this is before he passed, before it really took off. But I can't even imagine because he was around in the 30s and like before freaking, what's it called?
They were going
Snow White, yeah.
They were going through their own technical revolution at that time too, because just literally their parents didn't have cars. Their parents didn't have electricity the way that
Exactly.
they were going through their own technological evolution
Right.
to even think about AI, you know?
Or
I
I mean,
know.
going from standard transmission to an automatic vehicle, or to having powered windows, kind of thing. I mean, my great grandmother lived until she was 101, and R.I.P. Debbie. But I think about her all the time. I'm like, I just wonder at the end of her life cycle, she just was like, I am so tired. Like, I can't do any more new. Like when phones became a thing, like she was like, get that out of my face. What is that? But then I have my grandmother who's still alive, who's in her mid to late 70s, and she's got a TikTok account.
Yeah.
I'm like,
That's awesome.
okay,
I would
yes.
embrace it. I can
And
imagine being
she's
someone
really
that does
embraced
that.
it, and I love it because I think that for her, she knows that like this is a way for me to connect with my grandkids.
Mhm.
You know, like I've got to have a Facebook because that's when I see, you know, like
Not
my
anymore.
granddaughter's posting, you know, I got to see my granddaughter's posting about her dog or what's new in her life, and she follows my Instagram stories, and I'm like, so you know, like you don't necessarily. I guess it really just depends on the person. It's hard to generalize, you know, like an entire generation of people. It really comes down to the person and whether they want to commit to being a Luddite or not, you know, and grow with the transition of technology and stuff. But yeah.
I think things overlap too. Like people still draw, right? There's photos, and then people still draw portraits.
People still play chess. Actually, chess is more bigger
I mean,
than
analog's not going anywhere, right? Like,
Yes.
I mean, I just recently acquired, do you remember like when like the little TVs that had the VHS tape player in it, right? That was such a big deal to get for Christmas.
My sister got it. I didn't get it.
Yeah, I recently acquired one, and so now I have an entire VHS collection because I'm like, there's just something that's so nostalgic about it, and that's just so to have the physical media. It just feels different. And
in my 20s or my mid 20s, and I'm only 28, but I'm not just kidding. I'm not kidding. I went through a VHS phase. I would go to thrift stores, and I had basically every VHS. You could tell which movies were the biggest movies because you would find like 20, 30 of them at every thrift store. Yeah. Independence Day was one of them. It was you'd see that everywhere, you know. But dude, I had a whole wall full of VHSs. I'm still in my VHS tape era right now. Yeah, I have it in my kitchen, so like I'll pop it in when I'm making coffee in the morning.
Oh my gosh, I love it.
The thing is that they degrade. So those will get. Is your phone good?
Yeah, I'm good.
Those will get, you know, like that the tape degrades over time compared to how like a solid state drive holds information. So the quality is going to like in 50 years you might not even have those tapes anymore unless they keep making new ones.
Yeah. Well, and the other thing too about it is just like even like getting to see the previews again on like old Disney movies.
Oh yeah,
right.
That's a good point.
Like because you don't get that. Yeah, sure.
There's
I can pull up any old movie. Like I can watch Shrek on Netflix, no problem. But like watching all the previews of all the other movies that were in theaters at the time, like I'm like, oh man, I remember this. I remember Shrek Ketchup. Like,
Beethoven, like what Beethoven?
Oh, right? Like this is crazy. Yeah, there's something about it.
That's wild. Well, let's get back into Ren Creative and when you created it and like what the precipice was. I mean, it was before COVID, correct? That you created Ren Creative.
I created Ren Creative in 2017. I was still working for a PR agency at the time, and I was kind of on my way out. I knew I was like, all right, I.
But you hadn't done any entrepreneur thing before that?
I mean, I've always had a side hustle.
Side,
yeah, I've had a side hustle.
Had you gone full time?
Came out of the womb with a side hustle. Yeah, no, I had not gone full time yet. No, so 2017, I was like 1 foot out the door. And then I actually ended up getting fired from that job because I was starting Ren Creative on the side.
Oh, interesting.
And yeah, it was, and I had a chip on my shoulder about it for a long time. And in hindsight now I look back and I just realized that, all those jobs that I had, they were all learning experiences and they were all just really just bringing me into alignment of where I am now. And so I don't really carry the chip on my shoulder anymore because I'm grateful to be where I'm at. But yeah, I started picking up clients on the side so that I could, kind of have a client pipeline because I'm like, it's terrifying to just jump out both feet, no life vest or anything. Just like, okay, I'm going to just see how this goes. No health bennies, no 401k. Like, wow.
It's funny you said life.
Really hope this works out for me.
It's funny you said life jacket because when I first went full time, my mentor told me 30-day sink or swim challenge. So you said
that's
no.
really it. Yeah. And so I told myself, I was like, all right, January 1st, I'm going. So January 1st, 2018 was full time.
Oh, wow.
For me. And I just told myself, I was like, well, I mean, so we get one client. Great, cool. So we pay rent this month. Then let's get another client and then we'll get another client. And then we're just going to see how that goes. And it's really, I've been so fortunate and have worked incredibly hard to get where I'm at now, to where I'm just grateful that word of mouth keeps me going. And so, yeah, it's been a wild journey. And then, pandemic 2 years after that was like, I feel like I've mastered the art of the pivot. Not to use pandemic terms again, like it's very uncircumstances, or what
unprecedented.
Unprecedented, yes. These are very unprecedented times. Turns out still unprecedented. Yeah. We're just, wading through it all. But 2018 was awesome.